Hello everyone, welcome to the episode 59 of SoLeadSaturday. The guest we have today, Greg Coquillo. He is an industrial engineer with a master's in engineering management and 10 years of experience in continuous improvement and lean strategy. His passion for data helped him make a career pivot into field with areas of interest including artificial intelligence and machine learning. So let's just welcome him and hear more about his career journey. How did he find his area of interest and managing to lead that? So welcome, Greg. Very happy to have you on the show and really appreciate all your time and consideration being on the show.
Thank you so much, Vaishali. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to speak to the audience today. I feel honored to be here and talk about my career path and my plan for the future. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, and pleasure is all mine. And I'm also quite excited to hear from you. So our first section is about passion and interest. So how did you find your interest in this data field, and what steps did you take to pursue your passion?
It's all about pursuing the I guess the will to contribute to society.
Mm-hmm.
And I let that drive me in figuring out what it would take to be able to contribute to society. And for me, being an industrial engineer, I've always been close to the technology from a manufacturing perspective
Mm-hmm.
and scaling that technology to impact the many. And which led me to data, and then which led me to a company like Amazon that leverages a lot of data to impact a lot of people. So it's all about chasing that passion, that will to be part of a big movement, and this movement is continuously us humans continuously looking for a way to improve our lives. As we go through this experience called life.
Yeah. So the way I understood is that you like to pursue a passion or lead your passion with the purpose as well. So thank you so much for sharing. And moving towards our next section is about the questions from audience, where I shortlisted a couple of questions for you. So the first question under that section is, which technology or techniques do you recommend being combined with a technique in big data analytics?
So repeat that question again. I want to make sure I grasp it.
Moreover, which technologies do you recommend being combined with the big data analytics? So along with big data analytics, what other techniques or the technologies do you think go along?
So I think for big data analytics, you definitely need to I guess the output interface, right? Something like a Power BI or some Tableau. You do need that, right? So if you have the back end that does the analytics of it all, so how do you show that to the audience, right? So you have to have a product that aggregates all of these analytics into one dashboard that consumers can go through and easily understand. And another thing too is when you have big data analytics, you have to have an end-to-end process and good documentation for these analysis. And so you can understand why you would end up changing one or two, because you will end up changing one or two of these metrics and analysis methods, because business needs will change over time. So you want to make sure you have that process. And I can say, just like any other project, putting a process around business analytics always starts with the business objective. What are you trying to accomplish and why you're trying to accomplish it? And also I want to remove the buzzword behind big data analytics. You can do that for small data as well. You have to have a solid process where you start with the business objective, then you figure out where to source that data, and figure out what are the metrics that are important to you and the customers or the people who are affected directly by these metrics, where they sit, and how do they get affected by these metrics, to understand how to perform some technical analysis on those, whether you want to pull statistics or other methods to track those metrics. So
Yep. And this is very insightful. I guess if the person asks the questions what and why, they definitely find the better insights from the data and can derive the better results. So thank you.
correct.
And moving towards our next question is, any end-to-end machine learning project using predictive maintenance on production line to locate faulty parts and forecast the faults? If I have to just rephrase it, I think the person wants to ask is that, kind of a, like, whatever predictive modeling we do, we have the maintenance of that. So do we have any kind of a model over the model to maintain that predictive analytics kind of a project to find the faults and the defects?
So for predictive models for machinery, I think I've never worked on any end-to-end machine learning projects really. I'm more of the person who has a use case that I bring to the experts who build those models. And for predictive maintenance, there's a lot of time series algorithms that you can implement to check or to predict when machinery will go down, if I understand well. And it comes down to being able to select the right, I guess, features to help you detect when a machine is going down. I remember when I was in manufacturing, I leveraged the quality of the product itself, the frequency of the defects coming down the line as a signal to determine whether one of the key components of the machinery is about to break down. So it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish, and you can pull, ARIMA, you can pull, exponential smoothing algorithms, a lot of those, or you can go fancy, right? Depending on how many variables you're trying to control or monitor or use as signals, you can use a more fancy one like a recurrent neural network to predict that. In manufacturing, you have what you call mean time between failure, and the smaller it gets over time, the more you can predict that there's a problem with the machine. So there's a lot of signals that you could use, like around if your machinery has motors, you could track some motor signals, whether it's RPM or acceleration. You can look at the acceleration curve of a motor to see whether that motor is going to give in at some point. You can look into, for example, the bearings that you have in your machinery to take a look at their life expectancy. If life expectancy of bearings go down, that means there's an intricate issue with the global overall system of that machine. So it's you can do whatever you want with it to monitor these failures.
Yeah. And the way I'm understanding that you have a background in the industrial engineering. So do you think that prior education that you took is helping you in the data field as well?
Oh, absolutely. Because all of the things, when you think about process improvements, um, you know, you cannot perform any improvement without having data. So, and this is what I realized is that, wow, I can make a jump from manufacturing to technology because my career has been centered around gathering data, transforming that data, extract some insights, and come up with a plan to improve an overall system or process. So when I realized that that's what I've been doing, then I said, okay, any company out there need help in the sense of continuous improvement. So even a company like Amazon or Facebook, Google, they all have some sort of iterative process that helps them improve a system or product, a process at some point. So it's overall the same technique.
Yep. Thank you so much. And I'm really enjoying talking to you. So moving towards our next question is about, how does the pricing management work? I think it is purely based on your profile.
So for pricing management, I mean, I guess each company have their own definition on this one, but it's a lot of analyzing the movement of prices on the market, on the external market, and see comparing your position with your competitors, comparing the price position with regards to the cost of production, and also comparing price segmentation with regards to your customers to see what the optimal price should be that you should offer the biggest customer segment. And the overall is to price yourself at a point where you are optimizing your profits, but also you're minimizing customer churns, right? So you want to make sure you do that, and also making sure that the price movement that you do, whether you go up on price, down on price, that you're not really affecting the back end, which is the cost of materials and things like that. Some products might be based on commodities. And when the price of commodity moves, say, in the wrong direction, meaning commodity gets more expensive, you are incurring a cost. And sometimes you have to understand your customers to know who from these list of customers can you transfer some of that cost to by bumping up prices. And who will not be able to support it, and you'll be able to do those analysis regards to what's out there in the market. If the customer feels like they can go to a competitor when you increase the price, so you might want to back down from that and just occur less profit from increased cost, and you're staying steady with the price.
Wow, that's very, very useful. And I think that answers the audience question as well. And moving towards our next section is the fun segment, where I'm going to give you three keywords and you have to tell me whatever comes to your mind. It is kind of an abstract content. So you can just tell me like a word, or you can just define it in a smaller, a piece. So are you ready?
Yeah.
So the first word for is, which is associated with your profile or the experience, is predictions.
Predictions. What comes to mind with prediction is feeling comfortable about the future.
Wow. And then engineering.
Engineering. What comes to mind in engineering is discovery, creativity.
Wow. And the society.
Society. I think about augmentation of
Wow.
life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing. And this is kind of a like fun segment that I introduced from a couple of episodes just to have a little more engagement with the audience. And moving towards our next section is about exploring your career, work, and volunteering. So there are so many things associated with the profile, but I just came up with a couple of questions under that segment. So would you like to provide more insights to your journey towards data science? Because you already mentioned how did you find your passion, but when we think about, prior education plus what kind of a work you did in your earlier career, and then you transformed into something which is the latest technology and trends. So this is kind of a transformation. So I would definitely think that would be useful to the audience, how you managed to transform and continue your journey in the data science field.
Sure. And to tell you the truth, it wasn't something I was looking for. It's more of a drive to solve issues. That was my driver since I was in manufacturing. I wanted to tackle some issues, improve processes, and leverage data to do so. And then it, evolved to, closing some gaps at a previous company that I was in before joining Amazon, and where I had leverage to manipulate data as I saw fit. And I saw a lot of opportunities to improve processes. And again, this is where the will has to be there. And I started to teach myself how to use something like Power BI. And there are classes out there. I took some classes, started understanding the type of analysis that could be done through Power BI, and also started to understand how to establish some backend pipelines. So I had to work with experts in that side, those the data engineers that would set up some key pipelines with high reliability, high availability, low latency latency pipelines that I can connect to perform those fast analysis and present in dashboards that will be used to by customers or my internal customers to help them do their job better. When I took a look at that, I was not thinking, oh, I'm entering the world of data science. I never thought about that until I started reading some stuff and I saw, oh, data visualization is a subset of data science. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, wait a second here. All right, so I know a thing or two around this, and
Uh-huh.
then reading more, you have the back end of that, those algorithms supported by mathematics, a probability, statistics, and things like that. And I'm like, okay, I hated these subjects in college, but now I can go back to them, refresh my memory, and understand how I can be, how they apply with regards to algorithms, model creations, and things like that. And that makes me feel comfortable learning why we would select certain models versus another one, and how can we tune these algorithms to make sure that they're performing at the optimal level. So in this case, I'm not looking to become an expert data scientist. What I want to do is remain on the business side and be able to have very fruitful conversation with technical teams like data scientists and engineers and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah. And that's very well said. But just to mention it here, even though you are saying that don't want to be the expert in the data science, Greg is one of the LinkedIn top voices this year in the data science and AI. So congratulations on that. And as you
Thank you.
and as you mentioned that if there is a will, definitely you'll find the way to get into that field. So this is kind of takeaway I can take from your answer. Moving towards our next question is like talking more about your volunteering experience. So you are involved into two volunteering tasks actually. One is a data visualization society and second one is hack makers. So would you like to share more insights about it, what you do under that, and if some audience would like to join that volunteering initiatives?
Yeah, so for Data Visualization Society, I'm part of the operations committee that looks at the different technology that Data Visualization Society can leverage to make sure that the users are having the best experience with the platform. So making sure that they have the proper support. For example, Data Visualization Society has a lot of writers. They write for Medium, through a series called The Nightingale, and these writers would need to, they get remunerated. And what is the, choosing the best platform to make sure that they get remunerated on time properly. We have to have that, and also establishing the, you know, being a 501 3C entity, how do we position ourselves to make sure that we have the right resources to continuously gather more participants and things like that. So it's one of those where I participate once a week with the director of operations, and I give my time to support, advice, in terms of how do we get more people on board, how do we come up with the best ideas to keep people entertained, what kind of subscription method should we apply? Say, if you are a donor at a certain level, should we segment that, et cetera, et cetera? What is the overall strategy for Data Visualization Society? Then you asked me about Hackmaker too, right?
Yep, yep.
So hat maker is kind of like, being a mentor to a group of other mentors. So what I usually do, I'm usually a lead mentor. So I remove obstacles. If I want to be very simple here, what I do is remove obstacles for other mentors. These mentors might have one or more or two teams that they're you know accompanying through the hackathon, which might last, say, 3 days, maybe. And sometimes, if I want to get deep dive into it, I can also take a look at how a team progresses through the final day of submission of their projects. So projects can vary. It's certainly centered around some artificial intelligence tools or technologies and techniques. You have, fraud detection, cybersecurity, like the last one I participated in. And it depends. So again, for me, I'm on the business side. So on the technical side, I cannot give much advice, but I can give some advice on, the pitching side of things when they have the project prepared, how to pitch that project to make sure we understand that the focus remain around the main objective. Say if you have a fraud detection model, what are you trying to achieve? How do you pitch that idea? And how do you explain your limitations? And how do you explain how you can mitigate those limitations? Those are the things that I kind of look for when I look at a presentation during a hackathon.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. And I hope that is helpful to the audience as well, because being engaged into some kind of a volunteering is always an advantage for the students as well as the professionals. So hopefully, audience will join those initiatives as well and participate more. Moving towards our next section is about tips, advice, and you can support your answer with the books and courses as well. So any tips or advice would you like to give to the students or the professionals who wants to pursue their passion in this specific field or thinking about this as their long-term career option?
Yeah, so passion, I don't want to take that word lightly, right? Passion doesn't come without purpose. I don't think we can say, oh, pursue your passion, and then you feel like you don't have any purpose for that passion, then don't pursue it. You have to have purpose, right? Why do you want to pursue certain things? And what is your objective here? What are you trying to accomplish? So find that passion purpose. Then once you find that passion purpose, then don't hesitate to ask for help. Go out to find any sort of materials that will solidify your I guess, will to go after that passion purpose. And, with that said, there's a lot of people, you will find that by looking for help, by deep diving into it, you'll find that a lot of people might have the same passion purpose as you do. And some might be more ahead than you are, and you might be able to learn from them. And naturally, I want to believe that us humans, we're more likely to help than not help others who ask for help. So especially on a platform like LinkedIn, you go there, you look for people who have the same passion and purpose as you do. They will most likely open the door for you to help you learn along with them, alongside them. So make sure you keep an open mind like this, and don't just choose a passion just for the heck of it. Make sure you attach some purpose behind it too. So.
Yes, yes, and this is really very wise advice for anybody to have. And as one more thing you mentioned while thinking about passion with the purpose, it's about approaching the people as well, because somehow you get into that network where you are standing for the same kind of a values or the purpose for that passion. So thank you so much for sharing. And as we are moving towards the end of the show, it is towards about the leadership. So the way you are leading your passion or the area of interest, what is your leadership style? And if any specific leader or the leader you always follow or the admire?
It's a great question. So I can't tell you what my leadership style is because I never really thought about that. I guess for me, I would say my leadership style is, I don't know if that's a leadership style, but I like to dream big, right? I like to dream big and act on it, right? But that's more of a in the workplace. I'm trying to use that leadership skill that I have at work because I feel like maybe I can dream big because I'm under a safety net that's called employment. I'm trying to teach myself to be more dream big for myself, right? So removing myself from that safety net and say, okay, what if I take a big chance that can affect my life? And what I talk about here is, okay, do I feel courageous enough to go into entrepreneurship, right? And accepting failure in the process if failure comes, but not focusing on that, focusing on winning, of course. What can I learn that I do in the workplace that I can apply to my life personally? So if you call that a leadership skill, then I don't know. And also, you had a second portion to that question too. other than what my leadership skill is. I can't remember.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And you forgot, you did not tell that who you follow, like, who
Oh
is
yes,
your leader and why.
yes. So who do I follow? To tell you the truth, I have a good list of mentors that I found inside of Amazon that I do follow their track record internally. And outside of work, really on the personal level, um, I can't think of any, like, the list that I have is cliche, I guess,
Mhm.
right? So I can tell you I admire the work of a lot of the uh, great folks out there who've done amazing things, like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. To me, this sounds cliche. What I've been really looking forward to is looking into the life and achievements of the underdogs as well, to understand how they got there and how they transferred from being the underdog to the big dogs, right? So if you think about, something like, reading about the story of how a company like uh, uh, Airbnb, for example, came to part, how they started, what they do, what pushed them to be better, and to where they are today. Just last year they performed, late last year they had an IPO, and to take a look at their track record and what got them there is an amazing story for me. And I like to get inspired by that. Or any young entrepreneurs that are self-made, that came up with an idea they believe in, and really became fruitful in the end. I love to read those stories, and I really look to these guys to make my life better and help make others' lives better in the process.
Yeah, yeah, and that's true actually. So leader, it can be any leader. It is not like you need any like a popular figure or the famous celebrity.
My
Uh,
point exactly. Yes.
it is like everybody is the leader in their own way if they are doing well. So that's completely like valid. And thank you so much for sharing that. So just to end this show, I'm going to end it with your favorite quote, that let curiosity be your fuel for discovery and growth. So that is Greg Coquillo, and hope you enjoy this episode. As I always say, until we meet, happy leading. Let's live together. Stay safe. Bye for now.
Thank you very much. Bye, guys.